My name is Joshua Rowe. I'm in my 5th year now here at UF, and I'm working on a PhD in recreation, parks, and tourism. I'm focused very specifically on recreation and parks, and within that I'm looking at place attachment theory and how attachments are formed to recreation areas. In the world of recreation and tourism, it's dealing more with how people become attached to specific areas, whether that's a home area. It's generally referred to at either the home, community, town, region, country, in that outward expanding concentric circle. So I'm looking though at how the idea of geographic proximity as a measure impacts the level of place attachment to specific recreation areas. So the main problem that I'm trying to address actually in the long run is how and why people become attached to specific recreation areas, so that both researchers and practitioners can better understand the diversity or lack of diversity at various recreation areas, and hopefully with the changing demographics of the U.S., see a corresponding change in the diversity of recreation and park visitation. So dealing with ultimately then the who is visiting recreation areas or parks and why, and trying to draw in an interest in the parks by a greater diversity of people. So I worked in the tourism industry for quite a while as a practitioner. Specifically, I started out running a guide service in eastern Kentucky, doing guided rock climbing, kayaking, canoeing, hiking, things like that. And then from there I went to Mexico and guided as an international mountaineering guide, where we climbed the 3 highest peaks in Mexico. From there I went to Alaska and worked for several years as a guide, working in Alaska and Canada. And then later on I went to Ecuador and guided there and climbed the 5 highest mountains. So I have about a decade of working in the industry on the supply side of tourism. One of the big things that I see in the U.S., for example, are our national parks. Receive millions and millions of visitors from around the country, but also around the globe every year. So the 4 big ones, you have 2 in the east, which are Great Smoky Mountains National Park and Acadia National Park. And then in the west you have Yosemite and Yellowstone. And basically I think that if we're able to foster a level of attachment to these parks, it promotes a personal sense of pride and ownership to the parks. And I think if we can expand that to, again, a diversity of people, a diversity of nations, of races, ethnicities, then we have more people interested in them, and ultimately we add one small piece of the puzzle to solving the bigger issue of taking care of the one planet that we have to live on right now.